All right, so let's take the next part of the research project. I've done some note taking. This is mostly note taking for the first thing here, 6.1.1 summary of the product or process. And so you'll want to do the same process for each one of these. But now I've got some general notes. It's probably not everything I should have, but as for a demonstration, I think it'll do. So I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to use the method where I'm going to replace this bullet point with a paragraph that's all about that. So my first thing to do is I organize myself, and I'm going to make sure that that's yellow. And I'm going to come over to my notes and see what goes with that. So I see that that might be of interest. There's 26 different types of concrete, and that it's used in almost every phase of every type of construction. That's sort of interesting. Um, this is there, but it's gonna maybe be too much. But this is part of the general stuff about the product, which is concrete. And here, this is also general stuff about the process. So I'm identifying the stuff that really might go. Okay, but here's something about my entrained air. That's sort of the basics of it right there. This is a little bit detailed. It's not really part of a summary. This part about how much air there is in it, or how I go about doing it. That's not part of the summary. This is about the benefits and the drawbacks, the scaling, deterioration. It's nice to say that maybe I need to say something about what entrained air is and what it really is. So there's more about it. And this is the essence of what it does. These pockets relieve internal pressure on the concrete for water to expand when it freezes. So that's sort of what it does. This is more about the drawbacks and the benefits of the use, that it's used for sulfate resistance and proved this, and hard troweling. So those are some of the main things. There might be more, but I'm going to just down below here, and then I'm going to get rid of that. So now I have to put this all together, and I have to read them and see if I can. And this takes me 3 or 4 times usually. But I'm going to start off with concrete is used in almost every type of construction. So I'm going to start with that. And I'm going to get rid of bullet points because now I'm going to try to write something. Almost every type of construction. And there are over 26 types of concrete that can be used for specific purposes. That's sort of like my general starting. Okay. And now I want to somehow transition to the one that I want. I could put this in. Maybe I'll put this in here. Maybe I'll put that in, but I might get rid of it later. So I'm not positive that's going to fit. So I'm going to just kind of note to myself that these italics things might get gotten rid of. So now I can say that one type, and I'll get rid of italics, one type of specialty concrete is, so actually I'm going to change it around now. I'm going to say air entrained concrete is one type of specialty concrete in which air is entrained to form thousands of dum. And I'm going to say, okay, so the essential air entrained concrete is one type of, I have to always go back and reread, of specialty concrete in which air is entrained in the form of thousands of uniformly distributed particles. This process creates air pockets which relieve internal pressure on the concrete by when it freezes. There, that's kind of like what it does. And I don't think I've taken up too much space. I might come back and get rid of it in a little bit more. So I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to just write here description of air entrained concrete. So I've just done this, so I don't need, I've taken care of this, so I can get rid of that. There. And I don't need to say in my report include, because I know I'm going to, there I go. Concrete is it. So now I've got, this is essentially an executive summary. And I've done it by taking care of all these things. So now when I go to my next part, I'll make that a new color. That one I'll make maybe orange. That's kind of a, maybe I'll make it some sort of a green. There we go. And I'll undo these colors later on. But this is how I go through my notes and see what's useful and not useful. Now, I haven't really done my research and study on this next part, so I'm not ready to do it. I might be able to find some information about it, but I need to go now and, like I did with my research for the executive summary, I need to do my research for how, where, how, and why it's used and find some examples. That will be my next paragraph. All right, so hopefully that gives you one methodology of how to go through your notes and tie it together. Often I will reread this and change the order, and maybe I'll need to drop something out later on. Okay. Oh, and one other thing is down here on entrained, which air is entrained. I might put that down at the bottom in some sort of a little footnote down here so that I can actually do that. And I just put a little tiny 1 behind it. And it doesn't have to be bold, and it doesn't have to be underlined, and it can be a little bit smaller. And then down here, I want to get rid of those, and I want to just put a 1. So now somebody knows that I just wanted to do a little extra work down here to show what I was talking about. Because if I didn't know what entrained really meant, I might want to let other people know without them having to go look it up. Okay, so there we go. That's a quick primer on how to create your first executive summary for research.